Welcome back to our coverage of the Dunlop Mini7 Club racing from Brands Hatch. Sponsors are a vital part of motor racing, and without them many championships and drivers just simply couldn't race. So we caught up with Mini7 Club's brand new sponsor, Mini Sports, to find out the sponsor's point of view.
Mini Sports has been involved in competition throughout the years, since 1959 actually, when my father started the business. And we've done it all the way through for the last 46 years. And we looked at the Miglia side of things and thought, well, it's the oldest championship on the calendar and the oldest mini parts business in the world. And we thought the two together would be really good.
Well, indeed, it seems like a match made in heaven. Tell us a bit about Mini Sport.
Mini Sport is, we like to think, the premier mini specialist in the world. We've got a very good, great staff, great parts department. We do everything. When we say we do everything for minis, that's what we mean. It doesn't matter whether you want the last nut and bolt or a full car, that's what we do. We're a family-run business. There are 8 members of our family in it, and they all look after a different department. It's a nice business to be involved in. Everybody loves a mini. People are very, very nice. You very rarely find somebody in minis that isn't very nice, and the car itself speaks for itself.
The cars are lining up on the grid ready for this mini Miglia race here at Brands Hatch. Until rounds 5 and 6 of the season, it looked like Kane Aston was going to romp to victory. However, he's starting way back in the grid in 16th place, so he might have a good comeback drive. 6 times champion Peter Baldwin is starting back in 5th, and on pole position, it's Aaron Smith. Let's go mini racing.
Should be a good one, this. The Dunlop Mini Miglia Championship can always be relied upon for some fantastically close racing. And here is how I line up with Aaron Smith and Rupert Deeth on the front row. Richard Casey and Dave Drew row 2. Peter Baldwin, very, very experienced Peter Baldwin in 5th. Kane Aston, let's see how he can do. And yes, Bay Limited back car from 16th. 22 of them in all completed by Phil Harvey and Steve Whiteley as we get ready for the off here at Brands Hatch Mini Festival. And away we go. It's a fantastic getaway from Dave Drew from 4th on the grid. Also rocking off the line is Kane Aston. There's Aston, the bright blue. Number 11 car. We ride in car with Kane now as he arrives into Paddock Hill Bend. It's very, very busy in front of him, almost 4 wide. They're being squeezed down to the inside. There was Paul Thompson. Meantime, Aston tries to go around the outside of Tony LeMay. It's me at the front field. Aaron Smith busy withstanding the pressure from Dave Drew, who did convert that super getaway to move up into 2nd and start asking the questions of the bright pink car of Aaron Smith. And one of the beauties of the Dunlop Mini Miglia Championship is the cars have all got such distinctive liveries. Really adds to the unique flavour of the Mini Miglias, and this, for me, is the finishing school of British saloon car racing. Most of these drivers have been in the championship for many, many years, and there are very, very few tricks of the trade they don't know about how to pilot these highly tuned, highly strung cars very, very rapidly. They file out of Clark Curve in a multicoloured rainbow-like train along the Ramsden Straight on to complete the first lap of the race, where Aaron Smith comes under increasing pressure from Dave Drew. Also just tucked in behind him is Rupert Deeth. And then we've got Casey Peter Baldwin at the back of that train, the bright orange number 1 car of the venerable and vastly experienced Peter Baldwin. Arriving into Druids again, Niven Burge, also part of that leading group. He's in the bright red number 53 car. They head down towards Graham Hill Bend. All the while, though, Aaron Smith seeing what he can try and do about building the advantage over the battling pack behind us. Richard Casey goes to the inside of Niven Burge. Peter Baldwin tries to move to the inside of the pair of them, and he's going to go through there. That is almost 40 years of racing experience for you. Peter Baldwin, beautifully judged manoeuvre. He takes the place away from Casey, away from Burge as well. Elevates him up to 4th in proceedings, Peter Baldwin. As he sets off in pursuit of Aaron Smith. Well, yesterday, Baldwin was a very, very narrow runner-up. 62 thousandths of a second separated him and Aaron Smith at the line. So Smith in pursuit of his 2nd victory of the weekend as the pack accelerate along Ramsden Straight into Paddock Hill Bend once more, riding over the curb, some of them on 2 wheels. Spectacular stuff. Climbing up Harewood Hill and around Druids with Aaron Smith from Dave Drew and Rupert Deeth towards Graham Hill Bend once more. Aaron Smith's trying to pull clear of the rest of the pack because he knows that Kane Aston and Peter Baldwin are going to come on very, very strong in the latter stage of this 18-lap race. On the Cooper Straight, there's a problem there. I think it was Niven Burge pulling off the road, so Burge encountering issues, unfortunately, as he pulls to the side of the track. The rest of the field streak on, and Aaron Smith really not moving clear of Dave Drew or Rupert Deeth. or indeed Peter Baldwin and Richard Casey. There's the gap in the air where Niven Berger's car used to be. It means that Kane Astin is up into 7th position as Baldwin looks to gain ground. Here come the rest of the field, all streaming across the line. 2 or 3 wide. Further back there's Paul Spark, who was so successful at last year's Mini Festival, battling for a place inside the top 10. And these cars are so evenly matched, and that's why they're still running. There's just this giant pack in the early stages and mid-stage of this race. Sam Summerhays as well, part of the group, fighting positions inside the top 10. They're chasing down Paul Thompson, number 2 car. I don't see an awful lot of Paul in the Mini Medias at the moment, but when we do, he can often be relied upon to be towards the front of the field. Likewise, Chris Watkinson looking to improve his position. He's on the tail of Colin Peacock as the leading quintet accelerate out of Clark Curve once more, running as one. And this is Mini racing at its very, very best. All the while, though, Aaron Smith has not been passed at the front of the field, and despite the closeness of the pack, there's actually been a limited degree of shuffling positions. You have to work very, very hard to move up the order, because you talk to these drivers, they'll say the Brands Hatch Indy circuit is a very tricky place to overtake, and you don't want to willingly concede your position unless you're confident getting it back. And that's why Peter Baldwin, trying to find his way past Rupert Death, is also busy defending from Richard Casey as they plummet down out of Druids again in towards Graham Hill Bend. It's really the sole corner of the Brands Hatch Indy circuit that's been changed since the Mini Emilia Championship came into being, which is many, many years ago now. Baldwin on the tail of Rupert Death, the silver 23 car. Death, Baldwin, the bright orange number 1 machine. Next to cream 6 car of Dave Drew, just ahead of them. The race being led to Aaron Smith, which is the bright pink car. There's Richard Casey in 5th, taking advantage of the quadruple toe ahead of him as the pack sprint along the Bramham Straight as one once more. Then they fan out for the now expected out-braking battle into Paddock Hill Bend, and it's Baldwin who gains the place this time, moves up to 3rd to the inside of Rupert Death. Lovely move that from Peter Baldwin. He snatches the position away from Death as they climb up the hill towards Druids once more. Now what can Baldwin do about further elevation of his position? Down towards Graham Hill Bend they hurtle. Baldwin in 3rd. What he really wants to do is overhaul Dave Drew and then set about giving himself a shot here. The race leader, Aaron Smith. Along Cooper Straight they head as one. And these Mini Medias astonishingly quick as well. The average lap speed here, Brands Hatch, fractionally under 80 miles an hour, which, given that you've got the hairpin and Druids in the slow left-hand of Graham Hill Bend, is a pretty remarkable performance. These cars tuned to within an inch of their endurance as Baldwin looks to run in the slipstream of Dave Drew, maybe looks to challenge into Paddock Hill Bend. First of all, he jinks the outside, then switches back to the inside line and could well go through here. Further back, Colin Peacock having to defend from Paul Thompson as Thompson snatches the position at Paddock. He is able to climb up further place as Dave Drew was able to see off the best efforts of Peter Baldwin, hold on to that 2nd position in the race. And for Baldwin, the frustration here is that these 18 laps are ticking by very, very quickly, and he is going to have a chance of winning this race. First of all, he needs to get to 2nd place to start challenging Aaron Smith. At the moment, you can't do that. Along the Cooper Straight once more, no chance to improve there for Baldwin. The opposite applies to Richard Casey, who moves up to 4th ahead of Rupert Death, who is just beginning to slip back from this pack as again the leaders accelerate through Clark Curve and on to the Bramham Straight. There's Kane Astin, who moved up to 6th early in proceedings, but he's not been able to close that gap down to the leading group, and this is what we mean by these races being decided by very fine margins, as Baldwin has now gone up into 2nd. Now we've got a repeat of yesterday's battle. Can Peter Baldwin trump Aaron Smith? It's youth versus experience. Aaron Smith has got the youth on his side, Peter Baldwin has got the experience and such success both in minis but also the Metro Challenge. So raced Rover Towboat and Tomcat for a while in the mid-1990s as well, as he chases down Aaron Smith. Just a handful of laps remaining here. Brands Hatch at the Mini Festival. This is why the Mini Festival has been such a success now into its 2nd season. It's why it's drawn in such big crowds, such big entries. It is for racing like this. You can see why the likes of Mini Sport have chosen to lend their support as well to the Mini Festival. And it's great to see them backing this increasingly popular event. Battling to be found throughout the field. As 11 away is Gordon Pocock. He's got just behind him Paul Simmons as we go into the last lap. And Kane Aston has now finally been able to claw himself onto the tail of Richard Casey and Rupert Death, and Death makes a mistake, Palakill bend, and that could delay Casey. This is Aston's opportunity to get a couple of positions as he jinks the outside up Hayward Hill and moves into fourth at Druids. Brilliant manoeuvre from Kane Aston, and that is why he who's been the dominant driver for so much of this year's championship, as Aaron Smith and Peter Baldwin go absolutely bumper to bumper along the Cooper Straight for the final time. The checkered flag is just 2 corners away, and can Baldwin move past Aaron Smith? Well, it's Smith who's got the advantage, hugs the inside the road into clearways, but what he's got to concern himself with here is whether or not Baldwin can jump clear on the slipstream. The pair of them accelerate along the Bramham Straight. The checkered flag is poised, it's ready, it's waiting. Baldwin comes out of the slipstream, across the line they go, and it's victory for Aaron Smith by just 40 thousandths of a second from Peter Baldwin, as Chris Watkinson is at a very, very late retirement. Kane Aston takes fourth with Dave Drew already rounded out the podium. Fantastic stuff there for the Dunlop Mini Media Championship, as the rest of the field sprint across the line. Paul Clark heading home that particular group. Let's have a look then. The final results with victory for Aaron Smith, second place Peter Baldwin, Dave Drew in third, and Kane Aston's super drive up to fourth position. 3 very happy drivers making merry with the champagne on the rostrum.
Like, it's been a really good weekend. I couldn't have asked for more. Like, we've had 2 pole positions and 2 race wins, so like I'm really chuffed with my home fans here and like home circuit. So yeah, really good.
That was very close, and I judged it, so I might have just done it on the line, but I was a bit too early. I couldn't quite make it.
Well, once again, the Minis have given us some fantastically close and exciting racing. I hope you've enjoyed our coverage from the Mini Festival here at Brands Hatch. Do join us next time for more from Full Speed Racing.